We are here in the cases of Kathy Murashi versus Cassie Jaffe and Elaine Dulcher versus Cassie Jaffe.
And this matter is before the court today for an evidentiary hearing on the termination of PPOs that's requested by respondent Miss Jaffe. So at this time, I would invite counsel to place your appearances on the record.
Christian Krupp on behalf of Cassie Jaffe.
Thank you.
Christine Yared on behalf of both Elaine Dulcher and Kathy Murashi.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Yared. Mr. Krupp, this is your motion to terminate. And I don't believe, as I flipped through these files last night, it occurred to me these have been pending for a significant amount of time, and I appreciate all of the parties' patience in doing this. I think we had it scheduled, and Lisa reminded me that another matter went significantly longer than anticipated and forced me to bump till today. So this has been pending for quite some time. So I don't think, bottom line is I haven't taken any testimony on it. So is that accurate, Mr. Krupp?
I believe so. Actually, now that you mentioned that, I'm looking at this. It looks like an order was entered, and I'm just looking at the motion to extend, February 12th, 2024. So we're sneaking up on a year actually from the motion to extend. And I think that's it looks like the objection or the extension was requested June 11th, 2025 is the stamp on the document.
Yeah, and then you objected shortly thereafter. And,
yeah. And it had the new date. Well, weirdly enough, actually, the new date is within 5 weeks of now. So, so you end up with it's kind of interesting. So it actually will expire January 8th on the original motion to extend. Is actually
I noted that as well.
Expiring again.
Yeah, no, I noted that as well. Well, and I know you and Monsieur know that in normal civil litigation, in fact, I just wrapped up a 2-day trial yesterday when we were litigating events that occurred, essentially during 2023. It's not at all unusual to have a 2-year delay, between the filing of the complaint and the actual trial. However, unfortunately, in PPO world, they're shorter term, so sometimes you get into this situation where you have the hearing and it's almost the PPO is almost up to its expiration date anyway. So, all right, Mr. Krupp. Well, in any case, I think it is appropriate to take testimony, and I can make a ruling. So,
Okay.
if you'd like to call a witness.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to call my client Cassie Jaffe.
All right, Ms. Jaffe, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Krupp.
Thank you. Ms. Jaffe, you're the respondent in both cases, is that correct?
Yeah.
And just for the record, there's a Kathy Murashi versus you, which is 24-00215-PH. And then there is a Elaine Dulcher, 24-00022PH. Is that correct? So there's 2 PPOs?
Yes.
Okay. And you're the respondent in both, and Kathy Murashi is respondent or the petitioner in one, and Elaine Dulcher is the petitioner in the other. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So a original PPO looks like it was entered back in 2024 because that's the case numbers. And then there was extensions requested. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We had a hearing, back, I think it was in 2024. Is that correct?
Probably. I'm not great with numbers.
Okay. They had requested an extension. It appeared dated June 8th, 2025, and an objection was filed. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you don't want to have the PPOs continue to be extended and extended?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to me why you do not want them extended?
Because I have no contact with them, and I'd like to just move on and be happy and repair our neighborhood.
Okay. Has there been any issues or instances with these people, I guess, in the last year?
Yes,
Okay, can you describe to the court what instances you've had with them?
they have,
And just for record, you need to designate whether it's Kathy
Okay.
or Elaine. Why don't we just start with Kathy? Let's break it down that way. So explain to me, have you had any interaction with Kathy in the last 12 months?
no.
Okay. No issues, no complaints, no nothing. Okay. So there's been nothing with Kathy, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now with Elaine, has there been any issues with Elaine?
Yes.
Okay. And what has happened recently with Elaine?
Elaine followed me down the sidewalk yelling at me and harassing me when I went to a chiropractor's appointment, and that happened 2 days ago.
Okay. And you had to run away from her?
I had to run away from her and cross the street.
Okay. Was she talking to you or were you talking to her?
She was repeatedly asking me questions and trying to get me to engage with her, and I did not.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I could place an objection, and I have no problem in the sense that if he's bringing this up for background and we would have the opportunity to respond, but we're here today only on the question of when you, Your Honor, when you signed the extension, was that proper when you signed that? We're not here to talk about what's happened since then. Even though I'll want to follow up on what she said, I want to clarify.
No, I understand the uh, objection. However, in PPO world, you're absolutely correct, Ms. Hurd, that in chronological order, I signed an extension and it would only be events through the date of the extension. However, because of these delays that, the amount of time it takes to get these hearings in PPO world, because I have such discretion to make these decisions, I will take into consideration the totality of the circumstances. So in short, I'll allow testimony about things, even though they occurred after I signed the extension of the PPO. My intention today is to make a ruling based on the totality of the circumstances. So I understand the objection. However, I'm going to overrule it. I'll allow the testimony and I'll weigh it in the context of what I'm going to refer to as the totality, even though in a legal and chronological sense, you're absolutely right, Ms. Hurd. We're venturing into Judge Rossi's procedure on PPOs here, perhaps rather than the strict chronology of the filings. So
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Cassie, do you feel that the Miss Murashi is using, well, actually, you said you've had no interaction with Kathy, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall when you had the last time, the date that you had the last interaction with her?
It would have been over 3 years ago.
Okay. And as far as Elaine, you said in the last year you haven't had any interaction with her other than this issue that happened Monday where she approached you?
Exactly.
Okay. Did she call the police on you?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And I guess, do you feel like you're a prisoner in your own home?
I am a prisoner in my own home.
Okay. Do you think they're using the PPO basically offensively?
I'm going to object. I know leading.
Well, it is, but it's the day before Thanksgiving. We can spend the next 5 days doing this. It's fine.
No,
Let's do 5 days and
all right,
objection,
well,
Your
I'll
Honor.
sustain the leading objection for now. Can you rephrase the question?
Sure. Describe your feelings as it relates to having a PPO hanging over you.
Every day I live in worry because I never know when the cops will come to my house because Elaine has lied about something. Every day I'm scared to death to be seen in my house with lights on. I haven't been in my backyard in 2 years. I'm scared to death to leave the house. I have to record every second of my life because of how many times they've made lies about me that could have very much damaged me and already have damaged me. I just live in constant fear and worry every second. And it's proven by my doctor records. My doctor's been well aware of this and how it has hurt me. And I would do anything to make sure Elaine and Kathy feel safe. And I avoid them and I keep myself locked in a room. so that they can live their lives and be happy. All I do is leave and walk to a chiropractor's appointment once a week. That's my only thing I do. And they seem to know when I leave and go because of what happened 2 days ago when I was going to my chiropractor appointment, which is already stressful for me to leave the house. And that's when Elaine chased me down the sidewalks.
Objection, we're just doing run-on testimony now.
I'm sorry I talked so much.
Okay, well, they're right. That was a narrative response. However, it was an open-ended question, and I'll overrule the objection. I think the testimony was pretty well finished anyway. So, all right, you may continue, Mr. Krupp.
Thank you. With the PPO in place, then obviously you've described it's inhibiting your life.
It's ruined my life. I
Okay.
can't live a life.
Can you explain to the court why you think they're using the PPOs at this point offensively?
I think they're using it to make.
Your Honor, objection. Again, I understand what you're saying about totality of the circumstances, but I thought legally today is about, and I understand what you're saying, that today though is very much about, and we have noticed because we could prepare, and what we prepared for today was to talk about that question of was it, they're challenging your decision to extend it. And we're going in a lot of different directions that we weren't prepared, and in terms of witnesses and other things to prepare for. So I'm asking that we stay, even though I understand you're willing to hear parts of it. I'm asking that we have to, that they and us have to stay within the reason that we were noticed to be here.
Okay, no, I understand the objection, and as I said, just the nature of timing here has forced me to uh, expand, if you will, the PPO practice, and the fact that I've also noted on these matters, if I get it wrong, for example, and they go up on appeal, well, that doesn't help you very much because by the time the Court of Appeals receives and processes an appeal and decides on it, it's often a year later, and the PPO is done and gone. So, the timing on these has sort of forced me into this situation where I do consider the totality. I'll overrule the objection and allow the testimony.
Okay. I appreciate, now we have all the objections. Now I can't remember what the exact question was, in a sense. I mean, that's probably Ms. Jared's
I
point.
think your question was, does she feel like the
Oh, that's
PPO
right.
has
Yeah.
been utilized as a weapon against
Right.
her?
Can you explain do you feel that it's been utilized offensively?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you explain to the court why you feel it's been offensively used by Elaine and Kathy?
I believe they're doing this to drive me out of my house and drive me out of my neighborhood because they got caught building a fence 2 feet through my yard and they don't want to have to move the fence away. So their plan was to get rid of me, drive me crazy and get me out of the neighborhood, not make me feel safe, make me feel unwanted with all the block parties they've thrown over the last 2 years, 4 or 5 block parties where I'm not invited and where the rest of the neighbors are harassing me on their behalf, basically telling me to get out of their neighborhood because it's their neighborhood.
Okay.
They did not want to be caught with a survey that proved that the fence they built was in my yard and they lied about it. And that's when all the issues started.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't know how to do maybe my tech advisor can help me here. Doing a shared screen. When you went to the chiropractor on Monday, you actually videotaped yourself in defense, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you provided that to me, a copy of it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the record reflect, it was that Will Porting guy. I guess we should ask to both disclose whoever's in the rooms. It looks like there's a third person in their room.
I think that's fair. Who do you have assisting you there, Mr. Krupp?
Will Porting guys
Thank you.
being the tech guy.
Very good. No, thank you.
Can you just email me the actual video, or did you?
I can't, no.
It's too big.
It's too big to email? Okay.
If I can get connected to the internet, I can log into the hearing
Go get Sherry.
and then,
Go Sherry and get her email.
Yeah, just ask for the.
Wi-Fi.
All right. Well, why don't you proceed while we're waiting for that, Mr. Krupp, with any additional questions that you have?
Sure. I don't have any additional questions for my client at this point, other than again showing, and I can, he'll get the problem is the file obviously is a video file, so it's really big. So it's difficult to, share, so he had it on the regular, Wi-Fi, so it's for some reason having a problem, but I can do an offer of proof. I did see it. Basically what it shows is my client walking away, and it shows.
Your Honor, objection. We can't have Mr. Krupp testify about what a video.
Yeah,
shows.
let's just hold off. I think your client already testified about what the incident was. Let's hold off until either we can see the video or, you know, and I'll also, Monsieur, do you have cross-examination at this time?
Yes,
You can go ahead.
thank you. So, Ms. Jaffe, you said that you're the one that was being followed yesterday or a couple days ago?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Isn't it true that you were the one outside that was that my client was merely walking her dog and you were the one that was following her taking a video?
Absolute lie.
Okay, but you have a video, so obviously you were videoing. That's not a lie.
Is that a
Is
question?
that a
The
question?
question
Monsieur?
is, you have a video about what happened yesterday, correct?
I have a video playing 100% of the time I'm around. Yes, because of the body
Okay,
camera.
I didn't ask why. You have a video about yesterday,
What
correct?
I'm supposed to
Okay.
do. Yes.
Okay. So for you to have a video, you were following her, correct?
Incorrect.
Okay. Um, let me go back to, you know, your comments about that they got caught with the fence. There was no catching. You and Mr. Portinga, isn't it true, contacted the city back in January of 2025 to complain about their fence, correct?
I have never complained about their fence.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Portinga do that?
Yes, he reported the fence because they built it in my yard without a permit and without a survey and destroyed my property.
Okay. And isn't it true that the reason we're here is about, well, first of all, so what you wanted was for them to move the fence, is that correct?
Wanted when?
Okay, let me rephrase it this way. Let's talk about the lattice. So you know what the lattice is on the top of the fence?
That illegal lattice extension?
Yeah, objection, you know, just please answer the question. The lattice on the top of the fence, you wanted them to take that down, correct?
Not me. That's not correct. I know the fence requirements are at 6 feet tall, and when the lattice was added, it added additional 2 feet, and that's just not city permit, city allowed. It has nothing to do with my opinion about the lattice, and I have never reported their lattice.
So would you be comfortable if they left, had they left the lattice?
They can do whatever they want. It's the city that controls the rules.
Okay, so we'll cover that then. Isn't it true that on the day that, or one of the days when Ms. Dulcher was outside on a ladder trying to take down the vines, that you and well, I'll just stay with you, yelled out the window at Ms. Dulcher while she was on a tall ladder removing the vine?
I did not yell at Elaine, and I was inside in a bedroom upstairs changing the sheets on a guest bed.
Yeah, I didn't ask what you were doing.
was
I said, is it true? You've answered.
I was scared. She was coming in my yard, and I told my husband, please tell her to stop trespassing. And he
Okay,
did.
isn't it, wait, no, you can't.
Sorry, I was-
You
Yeah,
can't.
and let me clarify,
can't
Ms.
run
Jaffe,
on.
you'll get a redirect from Mr. Krupp to explain the background, but just try to limit yourself to, Monsieur, it's trying to cross-examine, which are typically going to be yes or no answers. So try to limit yourself, and then Mr. Krupp will give you a chance to explain on redirect if you have explanations that you weren't able to give because of the form of the question. So with that cautionary instruction, you may proceed, Monsieur.
Isn't it true that on the day when that there was a day, you seem to remember a day where Ms. Dulcher was removing Vine from the lattice and you yelled at her out the window.
That's not true.
Okay. You're sure on that. You did not yell at her.
No, I told my husband she was trespassing and to call the cops. I would never tell Elaine to call the cops on herself. That doesn't make any sense.
I never said or implied that. Again, my question is, so you're saying, I guess you've said it, that you did not yell at my client to regarding when she was on the ladder removing the vine.
When she was trespassing, coming over my yard, I told my husband she is trespassing
Okay,
from upstairs inside my house in a bedroom.
okay, but you didn't yell at Elaine.
No, I was yelling to my husband.
Okay.
And somehow hears me in my bedroom, which is very questionable how she's
Okay, okay,
recording.
again, this is yes or
I'm
no
sorry, I
questions.
apologize.
Is it true that your husband, Mr. Portinga, yelled at Ms. Dulcher while she was on the ladder removing the lattice?
It's not true.
Okay. No further questions.
Your Honor, I think our tech situation has been corrected, and I think Mr. Portinga can show the video.
Very good. And then I'll allow a redirect and then a recross after the video.
Okay.
Your Honor, excuse me, but I do want to just place on the record, I strenuously object to this and to the showing of the video. I do, and I understand what the judge is saying in that desire to go totality of the circumstances, but the essence of a court hearing is that we have to be given notice. And they're now going to show a video about something that happened yesterday. And we have not had the chance to
It was Monday, Your Honor, is my.
thank you. Monday. That's something that happened Monday. And they're going to show a video on it. And we have not prepared for talking about what happened 2 days ago. In addition, there was a police officer. My client did have to call the police. We would have subpoenaed that officer because that officer has relevant information. This is,
The
I
officer,
I
Your Honor,
strenuously object.
the officer never witnessed anything, so
No, Earl, I understand, and I understand the objection. And as I said, my willingness to take the evidence today, though obviously if this were a case where we had the luxury of a 2-year window to, get through discovery and evidentiary hearings and things like that before the case was decided ultimately, it would be out of order. I'm also just thinking out loud here. While this, by its own terms right now, expires on January 8th, and I know my schedule between now and January 8th, I wouldn't have time to get in a hearing, excuse me, between the holidays, where I'm taking some time off and then my other trial schedule. I simply wouldn't be able to have the hearing on it before January 8th. So I'll take the evidence subject to the objection today, but I'll also accommodate in my ruling the fact that there wasn't an adequate amount of preparation on the late produced evidence. Again, I guess I'm sort of acknowledging the reality of how the PPOs and their timing work by allowing the evidence at this time. But your objection is noted, and I think chronologically and in terms of notice, you're absolutely correct, Ms. Heron. You weren't provided the video ahead of time because it only happened 2 days ago, and this is late breaking news, as they used to say, I think, on news broadcasts. So with the objection noted, I'll watch the video now and I'll make a ruling. In that ruling, I'll try to accommodate the fact that, we're proceeding out of order here, just by necessity, as it were. So you may proceed, Mr. Crow.
Thank you.
Again, Your Honor, I'm confused. So is it true that all your decision though is not going to be about a renewal? Your decision, am I right? Just so I understand, your decision is still going to be about what was noticed today, which is what they're contesting is your decision, Your Honor's decision to extend. But am I right? We're not here this isn't our only chance to request another extension. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank
It
you.
will be the case that will never end. Can we just schedule a hearing for the next one? Is that, there'll be another one, so I might as well just get a date right now.
Well, and as I reviewed it, it occurred to me that and I'm not even sure now where I think it's statutory that PPOs only can last 5 years. I have a handful of them. I think one that I inherited involving a news anchor and some misguided fan who just would not stop pestering her. Where we actually did extend the PPOs and they were in place for up to 5 years. So uh, never end is a little bit of a exaggeration. However, they can go on, by the statute for up to 5 years. So, we're only at the midway point of that. So, in some respects, that's an accurate statement. So why don't we roll the tape over the objections? I understand the objections, and I'll make my ruling accommodating as best I can the facts on the ground.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Can everybody see the video?
Yes.
Okay,
And hear it.
I'm getting no sound.
No sound.
Sound.
Same here.
Oh, there, we got sound now.
There it goes.
What's going on? What's going on? God.
Okay. Ms. Jaffe, you saw the video that was just played? Okay. You need to speak up. You need to.
Yes, I did see it.
And that video is what you took?
Yes, I was on my way to my doctor's appointment.
Okay. And there's a video of a house across the street. Who lives there?
Kathleen Bloomreich and Diana Pace.
Okay. And they were looking across the street when you left?
Yes, they were outside as soon as I came outside.
Okay.
Objection, just to clarify who they is.
Kathleen Bloomreich.
Okay. And you're walking to your chiropractic appointment?
That's correct.
Okay. It appears that on the video it shows, is it Elaine?
Yes,
Okay. And was Elaine then, it sounds like she was saying to you, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on?
that's correct.
Okay. Do you have any idea why she would engage with you?
Objection, speculation.
Okay. You engage with her in that video?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did it appear that she was trying to engage with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any reason why she'd be yelling at you, hey, what's going on?
Objection, speculation.
No, it's not speculating. I'm asking her if she knows why she would. She has a right to.
Yeah, I'll overrule the objection. You may answer if you have an idea.
Do you have any reason why she'd be engaging with you?
She's trying to get me to respond to her so she has some complaint to continue this PPO on forever.
Okay. You came home from your chiropractic appointment, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what happened after you came home from your chiropractic appointment?
I walked home the same way I left, and when I turned the corner to see my house, I saw 2 police officers pulling up and parking in front of my house that Elaine called, and then I saw the police go inside of Elaine's house, where they remained inside of Elaine's house for about 45 minutes.
Okay. You didn't contact the police?
No, I did not, because I was at my doctor's appointment and I hadn't returned home yet.
Okay. And did they, well, I said be a hearsay. So at this point, that was the end of the incident with Elaine. That was the only interaction with her, correct?
The only interaction over 3 years.
Okay. And then with Kathy, again, you haven't had anything to do with her, is that correct?
No, that's
Okay.
correct.
And for how long has that been?
Over 3 years, maybe 4 or 5.
Okay. And it appears they're tag teaming the PPOs, that they each get PPOs against you.
Objection, leading, tag term,
That's fine.
tag team.
Anyway, yeah, Your Honor, I have nothing further.
I'll sustain the objection and disregard the testimony. All right, and Ms. Yard, you may
Well, actually,
cross-examine.
I have no questions for Ms. Jaffe.
Very
Okay.
good. All right, then, thank you, Ms. Jaffe. You may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence to present at this time, Mr. Krupp?
Sure, I would like to call Elaine Dulcher.
All right, very well, Ms. Dulcher. If you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely. Swear to God, my testimony will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Mr. Krupp, you may proceed. And I take it you're going to treat Ms. Dulcher, she's the opposing party, as a hostile witness for and cross-examiner?
Correct. Ms.
Very
Dulcher,
well.
and quite frankly, I don't have very many questions for you. Ms. Dulcher, you saw the video that was just played, correct?
I did.
And that was you with your dog?
That was me with my dog.
Okay, and you were approaching Ms. Jaffe?
Well, I didn't know it was Miss Jaffe. She had a
But
cat.
you said you didn't know it was her, but you agree at this point that was her. Would
I
you-
do, because may
Okay,
I
that's all,
tell
that's,
the story?
ma'am. would
And
you agree
just
that
for
was-
your information as well, Ms. Dulcher, the way, of course, it goes is Mr. Krupp will ask his questions, and then I'll give Ms. Yard an opportunity to
Okay,
redirect you so
Yeah.
you can explain more fully if you need to.
so I'm sorry, Mr. Krupp, would you ask your question again?
Sure, ma'am, in that video, you approached Ms. Jaffe, would you agree?
I approached a person at the end of the driveway.
Ma'am, it's pretty clear. Number one, you acknowledge
But
the
I did
person in
not-
that video.
I did not
Ma'am,
recognize
ma'am,
it as Miss
Ma'am,
Jaffe.
ma'am,
No,
I can appreciate you don't like that video because it doesn't
No.
reflect well on you.
Objection, Your
Okay.
Honor. This
I
isn't the time
love
to
the video.
comment.
It's fine. It shows
Well,
it.
ma'am, let me ask a question for you. Would you acknowledge the person taking the video was Ms. Jaffe?
I do acknowledge that. I have to
Step
just,
two,
can I
step two,
make-
ma'am. No, that's it. It's a quick, easy question. Is that Miss Jaffe? The answer is yes. That is Miss Jaffe. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth. Step two, ma'am, you were walking towards her. Is that correct in that video?
I was walking down my driveway to walk.
Ma'am, it's a simple question. Were you walking towards Miss Jaffe in
No.
that video? You were not walking towards her?
Asked and answered, objection.
Well, I'm shocked.
Okay,
So
I think you
you're
got the
claiming
answer
video
no.
is not you.
So she denied that. That is asked and answered at this point, Mr. Krupp. You can move on to your next
Ma'am,
question.
you were walking your dog. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And
I
when
was
you were,
approaching a person.
okay, and that person was Miss Jaffe.
I found out later after I passed her that it was Miss
Huh.
Jaffe.
Okay, well, you, according to, did you tell the police you approached Miss Jaffe?
I told the police I approached a person that I didn't know was a man or a woman. I couldn't tell. And then I saw they were taking a picture of me and I said, what's going on? I did not. And then I thought, wow, that might be Cassie. So then when I passed Miss Jaffe, I turned around and looked, and that's when I realized it indeed was a woman and it was Miss Jaffe.
Okay, and you kept on approaching or going towards her, is that correct?
I kept walking my dog up the street.
Okay, well, and she's going to a chiropractic appointment, which has a specific location. Would you agree that you could have said, wow, that's Miss Jaffe, I probably shouldn't interact with her, maybe I'll just hang back a little bit and wait
I
5
was
minutes?
walking my dog. No, I'm just walking my dog.
Just walking your dog.
Yeah,
And
and the
yelling,
police tell
and
me,
then
the
the
police tell me,
video,
no,
ma'am, the video said there's nobody else around and you're directing a conversation towards Miss Jaffe, is that correct?
there's a person who I don't know is Miss Jaffe, and I say, what's going on? Why are you video? I didn't say
Well, you
that.
said repeatedly, I think,
said
what's going on, what's going
times.
on,
I
right?
said 2 times.
2 times, what's going on?
What's
And you're within 30 feet of her, correct?
much closer than that?
Okay, 10 feet of her,
Probably, yeah.
okay, and you can't
She had a-
recognize her?
She had a cap down over her head. She had baggy pants. She looked she looked always pretty. You know, she's always really well dressed and
So
stuff.
what, so within
this
10
time,
feet, you
It
couldn't
looked
recognize
more like a
her?
mannish dress. And so I didn't recognize her, and her hat was pulled down and her coat was up. And I could not tell it was honestly I did not know it was Miss Jaffe until
But ma'am, then you realized it was her.
after I passed.
You could have walked your dog in a different direction or walked away from her, but
I was
instead,
walking away from her.
well,
After
actually,
I
ma'am,
realized who it was, I walked
Ma'am,
away. And I
the
kept.
video
doing
kind of
what I was
speaks for
doing.
itself, wouldn't you agree?
I was ignoring Miss Jaffe, and I was minding my business and walking up the street with my dog.
Okay.
Judge, can we remind the
did you
parties to
call-
speak one at a time?
Yeah.
I'm getting no record here.
Yeah, please wait till that whole question is finished. And like I said, Ms. Dulcher, you're going to get a re-examination by Ms. Yurd
Okay.
where you can explain the
Okay.
situation more thoroughly.
All right.
So, Ms. Dulcher, so the video shows you walking your dog down the street, and then it shows actually Miss Jaffe then crosses the street, correct?
She crosses the street.
Okay, presumably to get away from you.
Your Honor, objection, speculation.
Yeah,
I have
okay,
no
well,
idea.
you're walking
I'll sustain the
behind her.
objection.
That's
You-
fine. Ma'am, you're walking behind her towards her, correct?
Just at the end of my driveway for about
Ma'am,
10 feet.
again, this is a simple question. Would you agree that you were walking behind her towards her? Simple question. I know you're trying to think about how to create a different.
Objection, Your Honor, Mr.
It's a
Krupp.
yes or no, ma'am.
No, my
Yeah,
objection.
I'll sustain the objection. It's argumentative. The witness is formulating her answer. You may proceed with your answer. Were you walking towards her or closing the distance towards Miss Jaffe? That question is going to you at this point, Ms. Dulcher.
As I completed walking down my driveway, I turned up north on Eureka, and Miss Jaffe was facing me with her camera, but I did not know it was Miss Jaffe. So yes, I did approach her for about 10 seconds while I walked up and passed her. And that's when I realized it was Miss Jaffe. And like the police say, they say, ignore her behavior. So I just kept walking with my dog, ignoring Miss Jaffe.
Ma'am, you said ignore her behavior. What did she possibly do in that video that interfered with you at all?
She videotaped me walking my dog.
And you're coming towards her and you have a PPO against her, right?
I did not know I was walking towards Miss Jaffe.
Okay, yeah. And you got back to your home, presumably, correct? And then you proceeded to call the police.
No,
Okay, who called the police?
I called the police halfway into my walk when I kept walking and she followed me all the way up the street, videotaping me. And she didn't really follow me. She was right next to me. And you can see I'm not like.
Well, I saw the video. I think we all saw the video. She actually
Yeah.
crosses the street to get away from you, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know? Did you not see the video?
You're,
I saw the video, but I don't know her intention.
Well, you would acknowledge that she was on the same side of the street with you. You're closing the gap on her and then she crosses the street, correct?
Correct.
This is not rocket science. And you would agree that if you cross the street, she's actually expanding the gap between you and her to not interact with her, correct? Or with you?
I don't understand how I'm supposed to know why she crossed the street.
Well, ma'am, you don't need to know.
Okay, I think she's saying she
crosses-
doesn't know the answer as
Okay.
to why she crossed. She doesn't, of course, know
That's
her intentions. She does acknowledge that she crossed the street.
And would you agree when she crossed the street, she actually expanded the gap between you and her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So she's walking away from you, and then you called the police. Correct? You just said that.
She went up Fairmount.
Ma'am, it's a quick
Other
question.
way.
Did you call
No.
the police?
I did not call the police while Cassie was filming me and while Cassie was in my sight. I waited until I got in a safe distance where I felt I was safe, and then I called the police.
Safe from what, ma'am? She's walking away from you, trying to get away from you. How is that creating something unsafe?
I felt attacked by being videotaped walking my dog.
You felt attacked because
I felt-
you have a PPO against her. And
And
she's
she-
walking across the street and expanding the gap between you and her, and you feel afraid. Could you realize you could acknowledge me, ma'am, you could have just stopped right then and there, correct? Stopped. Let her continue to walk forward, correct? You had the ability to stop in your
She
tracks.
wasn't walking forward. She wasn't walking forward. She was stopped in her tracks filming me. And I passed her and walked up the street.
Ma'am, you could have
Tried to
stopped right
ignore
then
what
and
she
there.
was-
Would you agree you could have stopped? Stop in your tracks. I'm afraid. And stop. Or go in the opposite direction, correct?
I don't agree with your reasoning.
Okay, so mobility wise, you're mobile, you can stop. Would you agree with me? That you have the physical ability to stop with your dog?
Yes,
Okay,
I
and
would
you
have
realize
stopped.
that you have the mobility to turn around and walk in the other direction. You're just walking a dog. You're not going in a particular direction, correct?
I am walking my dog in a particular direction.
Okay, but you could walk in the other direction with your dog. Would you agree?
No, I try not to walk my dog in front of Will and Cassie's house because I know it bothers them.
Well, you knew that.
Sometimes I do if
Okay.
I'm going somewhere, but I try to walk always away from their house.
So, ma'am, you realize that that's Cassie is walking in that particular direction. And so she's not at her house. Wouldn't that be logically make sense?
Not really. Didn't know.
Would you agree? She's obviously not at her house. You're seeing her walk in the opposite direction.
I would disagree with that.
You would disagree with it? Okay, so how do you think she's at the house if you just saw her walking in the opposite direction?
She was stopped and she was facing me. This person, who I did not recognize as Cassie, was stopped about 10 feet outside of my driveway, videotaping me.
Ma'am, I can appreciate
did-
wanting to
And
rewind.
she was facing me, so I was passing her. She was facing me with her video camera, and I didn't know it was her, but I still kept walking to get away from that person.
So you're walking in her same direction to get away from her?
She was facing me, so she's
Well,
facing
ma'am, we
like
all
this,
saw the
and I
video.
walked that way,
We all saw the video.
but you didn't see me.
Objection. Mr. Krupp continues to say, we all saw the video. That speaks for himself. And then he questions her about all these details.
Okay, ma'am, so we'll move on. So you, while you're on your walk, you're claiming that you called the police, right?
During my walk, I called the police.
Okay. And what did you tell the police?
I said that I had a piece.
Actually, ma'am, you tell me, I have a copy of the police report. I'm gonna read you the police report and you tell me if this is true.
Objection, Your Honor. Again, this is the reason why notice matters.
This is
No,
plain.
let me complete my objection.
Okay,
This is the reason, Your Honor, why notice matters. So he has a police report in front of him. He's now gonna read the report to her. We're on Zoom, which I objected to having this hearing on Zoom, which prevents him from providing me with a copy of it. And I had no notice that we would be here today talking about something that happened 2 days ago that has absolutely nothing to do with her objection. I object to him bringing in a police report, having her read it at all.
I'm not admitting the police report as an exhibit, Your Honor, but I have an absolute right because she's a hostile witness and also it's effectively cross-examination. The old, good old rules of evidence, you can cross-examine somebody. Actually, the classic person was Professor Rossi from Cornell, who says you can cross-examine anybody with anything. Even a quote, the bowl of soup was the classic line that he used to use in the Barbary evidence refresher.
I'll note Professor Rossi was no relation of mine. I'm the first lawyer on either side of my family. But well, in this case, the question is can a police report, which purportedly includes a party's statement, be used for cross-examination as a prior statement? And normally, of course, you're correct, it could be. However, I will note that it hasn't been produced to the other side. Ms. Yerda hasn't had the ability to review the police report and prepare that portion of the hearing. So I'll sustain the objection as it regards the police report. You can, of course, examine her about what she told the police, but the police report's out for now.
Oh, yes, and I wasn't planning on admitting it. Ma'am, did you advise the police that you had an active personal protection order against Cassie Jaffe and you were outside walking your dog? Cassie was outside harassing you and recording you. Cassie was last seen with a green baseball cap, dark Carhartt overcoat, and brown pants. Did you say that when you called the police?
I said she was wearing brown pants, and I did say she was wearing a dark hat, which was wrong because when she came back, I saw the hat was light. I was just really kind of that overcoat and the brown pants and boots is what I told them.
Okay, and you told them that she was harassing you.
I told him she was filming me.
Well, you didn't say that she was harassing you?
No.
Do you have any idea why they would have that in the police report?
Again, Your Honor,
All right, I'll
objection without-
sustain the objection. The police report's out.
I'll withdraw that part of it. And it says, let's see. And the police then came to your home because you called them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you were taking your dog you told the police that you were taking your dog for a walk. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And that you walked down the driveway and Cassie had passed your home. completely in the sidewalk, correct?
Yes,
She was not in your property at all,
no,
okay? And you would agree that she has an absolute right to walk down the sidewalk,
yes,
okay? And you indicate that, Cassie walked, you indicated that, she walked by you and didn't say any word to you, right? Didn't say one word to you. Correct?
I did not say that to the police, I don't think.
Okay. Sorry.
She did not say a word to me, but I don't think I told them, the police that.
Okay,
I told the police I was freaked out because was filming me the whole time I was walking my dog.
Who it was?
so her walking down the street warrants calling the police.
No,
Ma'am, did you have any kind of a signal set up with the person across the street that as soon as she walked out the house that you were gonna then walk your dog?
absolutely not.
Okay, you know the people across the street, correct?
Yeah, we
Okay,
were having breakfast here.
okay, ma'am, again, it's pretty, if we stay on point, we can get through this. So you know the people across the street, you said yes, correct?
I do, yeah, they're my best friends.
Best friends, okay, exactly. And you saw them outside of the
I
house,
did not.
correct?
No,
You
I
did
did
not?
not.
Okay, just coincidence, you happen to take your dog for the walk at the same time as she's walking to her chiropractic appointment,
Yes,
okay? And you're saying that because she was afraid you were gonna make some false allegation and call the police, that she videotaped the situation because she was afraid of a false allegation, would you agree?
Objection, compound question. I didn't understand it, and there's different, now there's three.
Yeah, and I'm
people.
gonna sustain the objection. It also calls for obviously speculation as to
That's
what
fine.
the intention
Ma'am,
was.
Ma'am, would you agree that actually you also videotape Miss Jaffe as quote, self-protection, correct? You videotape her historically?
I have on minor occasions, and then we do have a Nest camera that does videos like in our yard kind of thing.
And it actually covers their yard as well, doesn't it?
Just a tiny part of their yard.
Right, but so you videotape their yard.
And they videotape our yard.
No, not your turn. No, I mean, we try not to pay any attention to Cassie and Will.
Okay. Would you agree that it's not unreasonable to feel defensive when you pass somebody on the street and they call the police within an hour?
I don't understand the question.
Well, would you agree that Miss Jaffe has a reason to feel defensive?
I can't understand her feelings. I really can't.
You think that she should, well, would you agree that when you walked up to her and said, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? If she actually would have responded to you, that would have been a PTO violation, right?
Well, I didn't know it was Miss Jaffe when I said that.
Why would you walk up to somebody and say, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on?
Because here's this person, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, and they're videotaping me. And
Well, why would you approach somebody you didn't know?
I was walking my dog.
Would you agree, ma'am, that if she responded to you, that would have been a PPO violation?
Asked and answered.
But she never answered it. I agree
All
with
right,
that. It's
I'll
never-
allow the question. Yeah, you may answer if you can.
You're acting as if I knew it was Miss Jaffe. So I was trying to find out what's going on and why is this person filming me? I didn't know it was Miss Jaffe.
Okay, ma'am, let's assume that it was Miss Jaffe.
No, I don't want want to do an assumption. You're,
Okay, well, ma'am, bottom line is, and it's a pretty straightforward question. I mean, we've been litigating this for, actually, we're not, at this point, knocking on 2 years. And you're telling me that when you called the police, that you would agree that if she uttered one word to you, then you obviously already called the police, but that would have been a violation and you would have filed a violation, right?
speculation.
Well, I don't know if you could necessarily do your own objections, but I think you answered.
She didn't object. She
That's fine.
answered it would be speculation.
Fine.
Yeah, it wasn't a legal objection. It was
That's
just,
fine.
that was her response.
Yes, so ma'am, would you agree? And we'll start working back, we'll work backwards. So we're in November, would you agree, other than that interaction with Ms. Jaffe during the month of November, you've had no interactions with her, correct?
Objection is to confusing as to what time frame. he's
Okay, I'll
talking
make it
about.
really close. So ma'am, during the month of November, 2025, so we're talking now, this November, other than the Monday incident where you called the police, you've had no interaction with Ms. Jaffe, correct?
In November?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. In October of 2025,
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object. We've spent an hour and we're mostly talking about something that happened 2 days ago. We were not noticed to discuss. Wait, now, let me
moving on.
complete my
Yeah,
objection.
let's get a complete objection out and then I'll let you respond, Mr. Cook.
We were not noticed that we were having a hearing today about things that happened from July moving forward. The notice, the only reason we're here, and I told my clients this, the only issue here today is they're contesting Your Honor's decision to extend the PPO. That has nothing at all legally, and we're not prepared. You know, he brought this up, so I'll have to do some questioning, but we're an hour into it, and we're focused on something that happened 2 days ago that has nothing, no basis.
done with
nothing
the
to do.
questioning in that direction, so I'm not sure.
All right, what's the response, Mr. Krupp, on the expanding the scope of the hearing regarding events of the last 6 months rather than those preceding July?
I'm getting there, Your Honor. I'm working my way backwards to figure out when she's gonna tell me the last contact is with Ms. Jaffe.
Okay, I'll agree it might have some limited relevance for the reasons I stated before. I'll overrule the objection. You may ask the question.
And I'll be even more expansive so we can move it along quicker. Ma'am, would you agree from June 2025 to through October 2025, you've had no interaction with Ms. Jaffe?
I've had no verbal interaction with Miss Jaffe.
Okay. Has she done anything to harm you?
I mean, I suppose words aren't harming.
Well, you just said that you didn't have any conversation or any communication with her in 6 months, so, and you agreed to that, right?
Well, it was like after our September 12th hearing when we had to like postpone that hearing till today. Like that next morning, Cassie was on her porch and she was not speaking to me directly, but she was saying perverts this and perverts that. And she often calls us perverts, and it was hurtful.
Ma'am, so is she not allowed to speak on her own porch?
She is, I'm just
Okay,
saying, you
okay.
said, has
So-
she done anything that,
Has she physically had any contact with you?
no, I told you she didn't speak to me.
Okay, and
But
then
that was
I'm asking you a question too, which is, have you had any physical contact with her since June?
No,
Okay. Let's go back from June. So June to February, have you had any contact with her?
oh, I'll have, may I
Of
check my
2025?
You need the calendar.
Objection, Your
We
Honor.
can't have the other one.
I'm not
called.
prepared to be
No,
answering.
no.
Objection. So the reason we asked for the extension is very specific, and it's about an issue. The focus of it is an issue that happened regarding when.
This is a
when
code.
Miss- When Miss,
I just
Hey,
want
hang on,
to.
let me get the objection in,
It's not an
Mr. Krupp,
objection.
then I'll hear your
Yes.
response. Yet, no, they started as an objection. Go ahead, Ms. Sherrod.
the reason we're here, the reason we asked for the extension, we have to look at those, that's the issue here. And it relates primarily to an incident that when my client was
I'm not
on.
hearing a rule of evidence that is being
You're
objected to.
gonna keep
Hang on, let
interrupting.
me get Ms. Sherrod's objection. I'll give you the response, Mr. Krupp.
It relates to an incident, primarily to an incident that happened when she was on the ladder, taking away some vines. And now you're here to ask her to remember all these different things that happened. And again, the notice matters. We're here based on a specific document we filed. The judge reviewed it. The judge extended the PPO. And again, I'm objecting to the scope of this cross-examination. And
Very
we're
good
running out of
response, Mr.
time.
Krupp.
Sure, that's not a legal objection at the end of the day. I'm asking her, this is all about, quite frankly, I need a PPO because I'm terrified. There's been awful things happening to me and I'm exploring that. That's totally relevant to ask her the question. She's claiming that, quote, she's not prepared. Quite frankly, she should be because it's her issue with this PPO claiming that she's terrified and there's all these issues. The fact that she's not prepared is not really an objection. I'm not hearing this is inadmissible because of a court rule. I'm still waiting for Ms. Yeard to utter a court rule that would make something inadmissible or make the question inappropriate. All she's doing is just saying her client is not prepared. That's not really my problem. And I appreciate now we're having Kathy hand her documents, I guess, so they're handing notes between each other. That's concerning.
No, wait. No,
Now she's showing her the
no,
notes.
Elaine, I respond now, Elaine.
All right.
No.
Let me hear from Ms.
Objection,
Sherrod again, and
relevant.
then I can make a ruling on the objection. Go ahead, Ms. Sherrod.
Relevance, that's what I'm saying, out of the scope of the relevance of why we're here today.
Well, Your
Okay.
Honor already ruled that, hey, because given the nature of the beast, that we're gonna go backwards. And quite frankly, I'm working in time backwards, which I think is totally appropriate, but I keep on getting interrupted by Ms. Yeard. We could be done at this point, but I keep on getting objected to by Ms. Yeard when I'm merely asking her questions related to her PPO. I'm not asking her what she had for dinner last night. I'm asking her specifically about her interactions with my client. That's what we're here about. It's
Okay, and the last question that I heard on the table was between February, I believe, and July 2025, which would be during the scope of the extension period, with the exception of perhaps the end of July there, because that's about when I granted the extension. I'll overrule the objection and allow the question at this time. You may proceed, Mr. Krupp.
Thank you. Ms. Dulcher, is Kathy handing you notes? She's grinning next to you.
No,
Did she hand you something?
she handed me my timeline. So
Okay,
that-
well,
because you were asking,
Judge, we can't do this where they're tag teaming and handing each other notes. That's not how this works.
Okay, well, you can cross-examine her on what the notes contain, and
Ma'am, I want you to put away all your notes.
Objection. Again, this is again, I asked that this not be a Zoom hearing, and this is one of the so many reasons why. This is a problem, and
The problem is
you
that
don't
our
get to
client is-
demand.
hang on, let me get the objection in, and then I'll give you a response, Mr. Krupp.
Mr. Krupp does not have the power to make demands to Ms. Dulcher.
Okay, well, Your Honor, I want the record to note that she has no personal recollection of anything and that they're handing notes between each other, and now she's looking at then now giving me the chagrin. They're handing notes to each other to help each other. That's a problem when you talk about testimony. They shouldn't be handing each other notes. And
I'm going to ask.
she acknowledged, yes, I handed her a note.
All right, so
So-
the objection is to the exchange
I
of
have no
documents
idea.
between the two parties who are seated next to each other. Ms. Yard, response?
Yes, I'm going to keep saying it. This is a problem with Zoom hearings. I want to ask my client what I would do in court, and I'll do right now. Kathy, I'm going to ask that you remove yourself from this square, and that so that they won't see your expressions. And again, this is one of my reasons I objected to Zoom hearings.
Yeah, no, I understand, and it is a problem with Zoom hearings in general in that right, we don't have the same witness stand and setup that we do in the courtroom where we can focus on just the witness's testimony unassisted by, another person seated next to him or whatever. So I would agree that the passing of notes or things of that nature are not allowed during a Zoom hearing, so I would ask to refrain from passing any notes. If you need to refresh your recollection at some point, Ms. Yurd can allow the notes and we can explain what's being utilized. However, the part of the other artificiality, of course, is that Mr. Krupp's not able to see what's being used to refresh recollection like we could in the courtroom. So for now, let's refrain passing notes. If you don't remember the answer, the timeline, you can simply say so. So the objection as to, I guess this began as Ms. Yurid's objection, while Mr. Krupp's objection to the passing of notes with that instruction from the court. You may continue, Mr. Krupp.
Thank you. Elaine, has Kathy left the room?
She has not left the room, but she's left the other side of she's left the area.
Your Honor, she needs to leave the room because I don't know if she's doing hand signals. I don't know
No,
what's.
no, she's not. No, she's not. So
Okay, well, and I guess
Get out of the
because
room.
insofar that I have two PPOs here, and I have consolidated both of these hearings because I think the extension is essentially the same for both PPOs. However, she is a witness, so she should be, and the hearing actually is both parties, so I guess she's entitled to be present for the hearing. She just can't assist her,
Okay.
the other witness. So,
Ma'am, do you have notes in front of you?
am I the ma'am to whom you are referring?
I'm sorry, yes. Miss Dulcher, do you have notes in front of you?
It's to the side of me that I can't see really.
Oh, no, not see really. Can you remove
Turn them
those
over.
from your presence?
Turn them over.
Okay. Can you put them on the floor?
Your Honor, come on. What
all
are
right,
we
we'll take your
doing
word
here?
for it
Quite
that they're
frankly, I don't
turned
trust her
over.
because of what we've already just
That'll
seen.
be sufficient.
Okay.
You may proceed.
That's fine, ma'am. And I asked the question, I give credit for the fact that everybody's doing their best to help you out, but from the original question that I asked that you didn't have an answer for, from February to July, what interaction have you had with Miss Jaffe? And your answer originally was you didn't have an answer. You just kind of stood there and looked at the screen.
No,
What
I didn't.
exact interaction have you?
I
What
had-
interaction?
I
Ma'am,
had-
what
Okay, I
interaction
think she
you
understands
had?
the question, Mr. Krupp. Let her answer.
Yep.
Finally, I understand the question. Okay, so that was, yeah, okay. So I will answer the question. On April 23rd, I had an interaction with Cassie Jaffe,
Of what year?
2025.
Okay, and what was that interaction?
The interaction was that we had received a notice from the city to remove the lattice, the topper on our fence.
Okay, and you agree that Miss Jaffe did not give you any notice? How was that interaction with her?
Pardon me?
How is the city giving you a notice that you're violating an ordinance? Is contact with her? She does not work for the city, correct?
You keep jumping into what I'm trying to
Yeah, I
say.
think she wasn't finished with the
Wait a
answer
minute,
yet, Mr.
you-
Krupp. So why don't you let her give the narrative answer on that she started on the 23rd, and then you can follow up with further questions. So you may proceed.
We'd gotten the notice on early in January, and we'd asked if we could extend the removal time to the spring because it was the middle of winter and that would be hard to do. And Inspector Allen said we could do that. So when the weather got good, we called Mr. Allen and we said, we're going to take down the lattice today. And so he said, that's a good idea. So, and so we went out into the yard. We weren't going to remove the lattice. We were going to have a guy coming. And so we were out there before him so that we could remove the vines that had grown into the lattice over the year. And so I got out the ladder and Kathy was helping me, and I got up on the fence, on the lattice, I mean, up on my ladder to the top, near the top, so I could reach over and clip the lattice and get it out of the lattice by the time our handyman Brad got there to actually remove the lattice. So when I was up on the fence, then up on the ladder, removing those vines for the safety of the vines, then Cassie yelled at me. She said, get your hands off my property. And then Will came out on the back porch and said, get your hands off that fence or I'm calling the cops. And then Cassie said, call the cops.
Ma'am, are you looking down, reading something?
No.
Okay, you're looking down.
Okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be. I should be looking forward because this is an honest statement of mine and I'm not trying to hedge here. So, yeah, so, and I have a video of that interaction that
Okay, so that was the interaction that you had with Cassie on that day. It was in April 2025, correct?
April 23rd, 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay, and no,
like-
we're good. Any other, that was the interaction you had from January 2025 until July, correct? Correct, ma'am?
to the best of my recollection, yeah. Most of
Okay.
the interactions were with Will, but yeah.
Okay. And Ms. Jaffe didn't threaten you, correct?
No, there was one other time, I didn't really understand why, but she was out in the backyard with Will.
Well, ma'am. You gotta answer the question. I appreciate you want to go into another direction.
No, I'm
Hold on a
just,
second. Hold on a
Well, I
second.
think she was recalling another incident,
Another
Mr.
incident.
Krupp.
I
So let
know,
me get
but
that
I-
out, then you can
I'd asked her
cross-examine on both.
whether she threatened her, and she never answered that. She started going into a diatribe in a different direction. Ma'am, did Miss Jaffe on April of 2025, you had this lattice incident, did she threaten you with any bodily harm?
not with any bodily harm, but she did threaten to call the police and her
Okay.
tone was very angry and mean.
Okay, would you agree that anybody and everybody has an absolute right to call the police? Including you, actually, right?
Of course.
Okay, so how is, I'm gonna call the police a threat towards you?
It's directed at me in an angry tone. And it doesn't feel safe to me.
Huh?
When people
Well,
use,
would you say that the police are the epitome of safety?
I'm not talking about the police, I'm talking about
Well,
the,
she's saying, I'm gonna call the police. And usually when somebody does that, they're calling the police because the police represent a safe haven or safety. Would you agree? That's why people call the police? You can just say yes. You don't need to, I can tell you're trying to formulate a
Objection, Your Honor. No.
All right, yeah,
slam.
no, let's give the
Go
witness
ahead,
time
ma'am.
to respond to Mr.
Feel free to answer
Krupp.
the question.
Well, she's allowed to formulate an answer.
there was a time when we were installing the lattice.
Your Honor, I would ask her to be directed to actually answer the question.
That Cassie did call the police about the installation of the lattice. And the police came to her home and told her that when we're working on the fence, we have the right to reach over the fence And the,
Your Honor, I'd request that she be directed to answer the question that I asked her.
Yeah, I don't think
Was the
that's a
question was the
responsive
same.
answer. I get it. It's another interaction with the police. The question was a very broad one, and that was, do you view the calling of the police as a safe haven or, a safe mm, action, whoever does it?
you mean, so you're saying that when people feel threatened, they call the police? And I'm
I think that's, yes, I think that's the
I'm
answer.
totally lost here, so
Okay, well, you can also say I don't understand the question, and
I don't
we can
understand
move
the
on.
question.
Okay,
Alright.
ma'am, the questioning went down the direction of you saying that you feel threatened because Cassie said that she was gonna call the police, and you said in a certain tone. Do you recall saying that?
I didn't say I was threatened because she said she was going to call the police. I felt threatened because of the tone she used while speaking to me. in a
Okay.
mean and
And
angry tone.
my question to you was pretty straightforward. Would you agree that typically people call the police because they represent safety and or justice in the situation, as far as making sure that there's a keeping of the peace? Would you agree?
You're saying people in general?
Yeah,
I think so.
okay.
But in this case, Cassie,
So ma'am, so if somebody says, I'm calling the police, wouldn't that be like a neutral person? Hey, I want a neutral person here. They represent
then
safety.
that would be fine.
Okay, and so
Calling the
that's what she
police is
said to you,
fine.
correct?
Yeah, I'm fine with her calling the police. That doesn't
Okay, well
bother me
then,
one
then
bit.
how, so you would agree that saying I'm gonna call the police is not threatening you with any bodily harm, correct?
You're misinterpreting what I'm
No,
saying.
it's pretty straightforward, ma'am. So her saying I'm gonna call the police is not threatening you with bodily harm. You would agree that, correct?
I agree to that. She was not
Oh,
threatening me to
okay.
call the police. Her tone was mean and angry, and that was threatening. Her threatening tone, I agreed with her that she should call the police.
So you're upset because you feel tone.
Well, we should watch the video and then you can assess for yourself.
It's very straightforward. I'm asking you what you thought. So, so by her saying I'm gonna call the police, you thought that was a threatening tone,
No,
that you need a PPO because of that, correct?
no, she said, get your hands off my property. And that's what felt threatening to me.
Okay, well, you
And then
would
she
agree,
said, I'll call the
that,
police.
you would agree that you can't be on her property, wouldn't you?
I agree that I'm allowed to work on the fence.
Well,
That
you do an excellent job of distraction. Would you agree that you cannot be on her property by law?
by law, yes.
Okay. We finally got a good answer. Okay. And that was the January to April timeline that we're talking about, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further.
All right, redirect, Ms. Yard.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me start, Ms. Dulcher. You have the video available for the court to see about the April 23, 2025 incident?
I do.
I'd like you to show that at this point.
Okay.
They don't want to see our video, but they want to.
It was a bittersweet. Okay. Yeah.
Get off my property. Put your arm over the fence one more time, I'm calling the cops. Call the cops right now.
Call cops, go ahead. Seriously? Yeah.
Trespassing because she wasn't scared. Go ahead. Gwen. I was talking.
What we'll do is we'll get this one off when we take this out of the slot, because it grew through the little part. So, yeah, so what we'll do is we'll wait for this cut out, because I can't get this started up. What? Okay, so we can't get it out of there because it's stuck there, but when we get it out of this thing. So, yeah, what do you want to do with that? Well then, how about we put it up on? You want me to stop it now?
Yes, I mean, it's accurate that that's the end of any exchange that Will and Cassie made.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can stop it, yeah.
You may proceed, monsieur.
Thank you. So in that video, you were on a ladder, correct?
Yes,
And how old are you?
I'm 73.
Okay.
I was
And
72 then, though.
okay, fair enough. So how did you feel when you heard Ms. Jaffe yell, get off my property?
Well, I was surprised, and I was kind of frightened, and I'm not used to being yelled at by my neighbors, and so I was focused on the job I was doing, and I knew I was not doing anything wrong by putting my hand over the fence. And but it was the mean and angry tone, and then Will coming out and saying he's going to call the cops, and you know, it's like, okay, call the cops, because the cops have already told you that it's okay for us to work on our fence. And
I would object to any commentation about or comments about what the police said, because we don't have the police here. It's clearly hearsay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll sustain the objection as to what the police said in the past. You may proceed with your answer.
but yeah, I had to get the job done. We were having somebody come over, so I was just kind of jumpy in my skin and jumpy in my body. But I just wanted to remain calm and get the job done before Brad came over.
Okay. And do you know, or let me ask this, why were you taking the lattice down?
I was taking the lattice down because in early January, we got a notice from Gary Allen, the inspector who had come to our house. And he said, your neighbors next door want you to remove the
And
lattice.
I would object as to hearsay.
Yeah, without saying what Mr. Allen said, just how you responded to it, Ms. Dulcher.
Well, actually, it was Kathy who went to the phone. I mean, went to the door, and she heard, well, that would be hearsay if I told you what.
Yeah, right. Nothing that she heard or that anyone else said. But
I
I
did
mean,
talk to him, and then he did say we could wait until spring to take it down.
Okay. When Okay, I guess now let's go to the incident that they've brought up, which is a couple days ago. And, um, describe, first of all, ask me, how often do you walk your dog?
A few times a week. Usually I take her to the dog park or to the woods to run. But a few times a week, we take her for a walk.
Okay, and your house, so let me ask this, Ms. Jaffe's house is south of your house, correct?
That is correct.
And your driveway is on the north side of your house,
That is
correct?
correct.
Okay, so when you walked your dog, which direction were you, as you walked down your driveway, which we saw in the video, which direction did you turn, south or north?
North.
Which would be away from Ms. Jaffe's house, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so you indicated, so when you first saw, you talked about a phone. So when you said someone was videoing you and you didn't know who, describe how you knew they were videoing what were you seeing?
Well, it took me a while to be sure because I was coming down the driveway and there's quite a distance. But then I saw this person holding like in front like this, a phone, facing me. And when I turned the corner out of the driveway, I realized that for sure it was a video camera. And I said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I did not know at that time that it was Miss Jaffe. And at that point, Miss Jaffe was facing me. And so I just kept walking past this person. And when I turned around, I looked and oh, that is Cassie. Okay, I'm gonna just keep going and get away from here. And no, I was never following her. It was very far from the truth.
Okay. And when you so then you keep walking north, correct?
Yeah, towards
so where was so it looks like that you are both on what would be the west side of the street at that point, is that correct? The west side of you on Eureka.
when I passed her. Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah,
then
when
what
I
happened?
passed her, we were both on the north side of the street, and I just kept going, ignoring her. And then she crossed the street, but kept videotaping me. I wouldn't say I was following her. I was just walking my dog, and we were about equal on the street. She on her side and I on my side. And I'd look to check, and yes, she's still videotaping me. So, I'd stop for the dog to pee and hit sniff and where she likes to do that. And I just kept going. And we kind of have a general walk that we do. So I was just following that path.
Okay, and then when you did the block, you did the whole block then that day?
I turned left on Fairmount. And at that point, Miss Jaffe turned right on Fairmount. And then just a little bit on a little jog, Hollister Street goes up and there's some condos there. And we usually walk that way towards the Green Well. Mhm.
Okay,
So we were just doing that one big loop that we do.
okay, and then you called the police while you were walking. You said, was it after you had turned left and and she's going the other direction? Is
Yeah.
that when you did?
Yeah,
And
she was no longer in my sight when I called the police.
okay, and why did you call the police?
I called the police because I was pretty freaked out. I was kind of heart beating. It's like, why is she following me? And why is she videotaping me? All I'm doing is walking my dog. And so I'm like, this is really weird behavior. And it's just like really weird. And so I thought I better call the police because I do have a PPO against her. And this might qualify as a I don't know, like maybe she violated it, maybe she didn't. We were on public property, but it looked to me like she had me in her sights the whole way. And I was trying to get away from her. I was just trying to walk my dog honestly, like a person would in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
And to say that I was like following her or had some ulterior motives, or that I was trying to come down the driveway because somebody called me and told me she was coming out. It's like, that is just so not the kind of life we live.
Okay. So, Mr. Krupp asked in a question about, and he used the person Kathleen Bloomreck, and he implied that somehow the two of you were a part of something together. Did you know whether or not Kathleen came out of the house when you were walking the dog that way?
No, I didn't. I saw that video that Cassie showed, and I didn't, I mean, I didn't, you know, I was just walking down the driveway and turning left. I wasn't paying any attention to who was in somebody's yard, or I was in a hurry to get to work. I just needed to get the dog walked.
Okay.
I was late to work, and yeah.
And so Kathleen Bloomreck lives, is it fair to say, directly across from you?
Almost directly.
Oh, okay. So when you turned left out of your driveway, which was north out of your driveway, once you walk past your property line, she's not, her house is, you're passing her house by, right? I mean, her house is.
Well, her house is way in the back. I mean,
Yeah.
when I turn out my driveway, I cannot see their house, no.
Okay.
And actually, well, okay.
Okay. So Ms. Jaffe testified that you are doing something to make her move out of the neighborhood. You know, respond to that. Is that accurate? That you're harassing her to get her to move out of the neighborhood?
At this point, I'm just trying to leave Will and Cassie alone, mind my own business, do my own thing, pay no attention to them over there unless something is directed at me. And yeah, we try to just live our lives. Sometimes we have to, you know, put up an umbrella in the backyard so their surveillance isn't catching us, you know. Like,
So from videos you've seen in court, is it fair to say their video goes into your yard also?
oh yeah.
And Ms. Jaffe said something about block parties, insinuating you were creating parties with the neighbors to exclude her. Did you organize block parties with an
No.
intent? Did you organize any block parties?
No, not at all. I attend the block parties.
Okay, that's fine. And when you put your hands over, when you're removing the vines, did you think you were doing anything illegal by removing the vines?
No, I didn't. And the reason I knew it was not illegal was because when the officer came.
They're talking about a bunch of hearsay.
Okay, yeah, please don't talk about what the officer said, but outside of that, you may respond.
The officer had assured us in the contract.
Again, we're going down.
Yeah, again, we can't go with the officer's statements here.
Yeah.
Absent that, you can respond.
Okay, well, let me, I think
Sorry.
you
I'm
said,
sorry.
you already answered that you
Forgive me.
did not think
Yeah.
you were breaking the law.
No,
Did you, on that day or other, you know, on that day, did you walk into their yard?
oh no, they have no trespassing signs up.
And even though they have signs, did you anyways walk into their yard?
No,
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, all right. Any additional cross-examination, Mr. Crump?
Briefly, ma'am, would you agree that your fence is actually on the Jaffe's property?
we just found out it was recently.
Okay, so when you're reaching over the fence, you're actually on their property, would you agree?
We set the fence line with Will and Cassie according to.
It's pretty simple. Again, you do an excellent job of not answering the question.
Okay, no, I did not know I was on their property at
Would
that
you
time.
agree that the fence is, that it's on their property? Would you agree to that? You said yes, right?
I agree to it now,
Okay. And
not,
then,
but we
no,
did
ma'am,
not
ma'am,
have
ma'am,
that
ma'am, ma'am.
information before.
Say yes or no. You love to run on, and would you also agree that your deck is actually on their property? It's a yes or no. Either it is or it isn't.
It is. We just
It is,
found
okay.
out this
And then
summer.
question number two, they gave you notice that you needed to move those. Would you agree to that?
I don't want, think,
Objection. Now, Your Honor, now we're getting into a fence line, and I do have to redirect on that. But really, we're going to now go into their objections about a fence line. The issue today is when the court.
I'm done. Easy.
Okay. Since it was a redirect, Your Honor.
You may redirect, Mr.
Ask
Yard.
2 questions,
Thank you.
that's fine.
So since they brought this up, I would like you to explain, you made a comment that you had, you said Will and Cassie and you talked about or agreed on where you put your fence. Is that correct? Can you explain what you meant by that?
yes, when we were putting up the fence, Will and Cassie asked us to move it onto our property. So we used their survey and we staked a line to which they agreed. So we did it, we've moved it over about a foot. Since then, both Will and I have had
Okay.
survey.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let me
but at
stop you
that
there.
time, yeah,
Okay, so and when this happened, where you were communicating, the three of you, and you followed what their survey said, we're talking about years ago?
yeah, 2022.
I guess at this point, we are getting very far fetched. Ironically, Ms. Garrett was objecting to me
Right,
asking a question
right.
about the fence line. And then now we're going into 45 hours of a survey from 5 years ago, it sounds like.
No,
No,
I
no.
understand. She's just giving me the background perspective on this fence line, so I'll overrule the objection. You may proceed.
And then you said in response to Mr. Krupp's question, you made, your answer was that, yes, I just found out recently that your fence, a part, a part of where your fence is and a part of your deck is on their property. And how did you just find out recently? Why did your opinion of that change?
Because Will had a survey done, a recent survey with more modern equipment. And then we had a survey just to verify that. And we found out that both surveys agreed. And yes, our current fence is slightly on their property.
Okay. And this is what, weeks ago, months ago that you found that you both had these surveys done?
I'm trying to think, probably August or September.
Okay.
I think Will had his done first.
Okay.
Will and Cassie had their, yeah, and their surveyor said they were building a fence, so they wanted to know where the line was.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Then thank you, Ms. Dulcher. You may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence to present?
Your Honor, I would like to call Kathy Murashi. I was afraid I was going to pronounce it wrong.
All right, Ms. Murashi, you can take the hot seat in front of the video camera at this point, and I'll swear you in.
Okay.
If you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Crow.
Thank you. Ma'am, would you agree from January 2025 and now you've had no interaction with Cassie Jaffe?
From January 2025,
To now. That's the time.
except when she yelled over the fence.
Okay, the infamous fence incident that we watched the video of, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. But with that, you weren't reaching over the fence and there was nothing directed towards you, would you agree? At least the video I saw.
Yeah, I was just walking back and forth helping Elaine and
Okay.
then they kind
So
of yelled.
you really didn't have any interaction with her in that video?
No, I just kind of took it as that she's yelling at both of us.
Oh, okay. I have nothing further, literally one question.
All right, Ms. Sheridan.
No questions.
That's easy. That's the fastest witness.
Very
we've
good.
had.
That was a fast witness. Well, and we are getting close to the 2 hours allocated for the hearing here, so I need to make a ruling on the question of the day, which is the extension of the PPO that I
Your Honor,
granted ex parte back
can-
in June that extended the PPO until January of 2026.
excuse me, Your
And
Honor, can we have closing comments or?
nope, we
no?
don't have enough time for
Okay.
it. So both of you are going to get.
Okay,
I've had all the comment I can fit. So
okay. Thank you.
the standard for extending a PPO is their conduct, and of course the conduct defined. Though there's a perception that a PPO is put in place for physical danger or threats. Really, my experience with neighbor PPOs is they're focused on one term in the PPO statute, which is harassment. That is unwanted conduct by the other party that is intended to provoke a response from them. Of course, when I ask a question, anyone that's intended to provoke an answer, but provocation in the context of a PPO means, to create an emotional or a confrontational type response. And given that definition, the incident that occurred on April 23rd of 2025, where, and, I will note there are two different petitioners here who extended their PPOs, and this conduct was directed at only one of them directly, and that was Ms. Dulcher at the time, who was on a ladder removing some vines in preparation for a contractor to come over and remove lattice work on top of the fence so as to bring said fence into compliance with the city regulations. So as she's doing that, the video does capture Miss Jaffe yelling at her, get off her property. Now, this is, of course, the PPO's in place. Both sides are well aware of it. There's ongoing conflict between the parties. Needless to say, there is no warm feeling between the two parties preceding this, and that is said in a loud and aggressive manner. And further, though I'm not ruling on it today, normally, a homeowner or their maintenance people are allowed to briefly and temporarily access another person's property or cross the property line to perform maintenance on their own property as a matter of property law. There wasn't, in other words, that idea of a force field or being between the two property lines is not, a reality. And that, of course, as a result, because both persons are maintaining said property line, sometimes it used to be said, well, that strip of line between the two properties ought to be the best maintained area of all, because you've got both parties interested in maintaining its appearance and taking care of it. In this case, that was what Ms. Dulcher was trying to do in this jointly owned house with her spouse, trying to comply with what she perceived was had been told to her was a city regulation, take down the lattice, and she was doing that, and that was an aggressive statement, directed at her, but also within the hearing of the other respondent, Miss Murashi, who was standing near the ladder and also heard the comment. And what does that indicate to the court? Well, that indicates that the conflict that began this PPO is ongoing, at least as of April. at that time. I did take into consideration the video in more recently, the November video that was shown, over objection. And that does show a, interaction between Ms. Dulcher and Ms. Jaffe on a sidewalk. What appears to be, at least in some respects, perhaps a chance encounter where, Ms. Dulcher's walking her dog, Ms. Jaffe's walking to an appointment. And I will note for the record that whatever else happens, Ms. Jaffe in that video does exactly what the court requested, and that is when she saw the other person, she, without engaging verbally or anything like that, turned the other direction and put distance between them, walked across the street. And I said, it's very difficult with neighbors to never see each other. However, in that situation, she walked away. And I will also note that, the video records that Miss Jaffe's breathing is strenuous and labored, as if she's nervous or fearful about the interaction. And she's videoing it, and she has good reason to video it because, of course, anything that could be construed as a violation, as I warned her, very strictly at a previous hearing, could result in her, being found in violation of the PPO and in contempt of court. And I appreciate that she was, making that effort to follow the court's order at this point. So bottom line is, considering that totality of the circumstances that exist now, I'm going to leave the PPO in place until January the 8th. I do believe that the confrontation in April was sufficient basis to extend the PPO as regards to both parties. I'm going to leave both PPOs in place until January the 8th. And January the 8th, of course, comes, there is the opportunity to renew the PPO. I would say, based on what I've heard at the hearing today, unless there's more, I frankly don't see, I do see Ms. Jaffe, as I stated before when I watched that video, making an effort to avoid interaction with Miss Dulcher. And I don't see, based on that, unless there's more evidence that can be presented, about incidents that were not, placed on the record at this hearing, that there is any basis to extend it beyond the 8th. So my intention now would be that it run out on the 8th and kind of end on its own terms. However, the law does give both petitioners the right to apply for extensions. As of that date, they may do so, and I'll consider it. And then, of course, the respondents may object to the extension of the PPO. And, my thinking is, I've got two trains of thought here, and I do this just to inform the parties because I'm acutely aware that both of you are spending money on legal bills and, trying in an effort to do this according to the law. It's clear to me that if there's going to be ordinance action or offense requested to be moved, that's a whole separate piece of real property litigation that I hope and pray that I am not assigned to in the civil docket of the court. But because I'm terrible at property law, and I just
You didn't actually get assigned it, so you're good.
Oh, good. All right. I can't express the relief that I have because as much as I can screw up other matters, property law is as the Court of Appeals will confirm, my number one struggle. One thing I wish that I'd listened to in law school when I was there was all that stuff about meets and bounds and historical boundaries and things like that. So anyway, but I mean, I guess my point there being, while there's continued litigation, that of course, is a hotbed in any situation for conflict. In fact, I reflected on that yesterday with a construction case involving a landscaper, that had created significant personal conflict, not only between the two parties, but, that extended to other friends and acquaintances of theirs. That's just the nature of litigation. It does breed conflict. So I would caution the parties, to be, and I'll also say this, that even if the PPO expires on January the 8th, the PPO law allows the judge to consider prior PPOs that were granted as, being one of the violations that would normally sustain a PPO. In other words, you don't need to wait until you have two violations for a neighbor PPO. You can count the previous PPO as a violation, and if there are additional violations, it puts you in a stronger position to get a new PPO if that becomes necessary. So it's not as if all the effort that went into the prior PPO is wasted or lost, even if that PPO expires. The fact that there was a PPO granted, the judges do consider that as evidence that there was at least a factual basis for one prior incident that would qualify for a PPO. So all that being informational to the parties, kind of as to where we go from here. And again, acutely aware that I'm unlikely to see any of you, until at least after January, when we might talk about whether or not this ought to be extended or not. That's kind of my guidance on what my thoughts are, because I do want the parties and the attorneys to have some basis to, kind of counsel clients going forward. One thing I do want to express, and I know I expressed it before, is I'm greatly appreciative that these requests have gone through the attorneys and that we've aired these out in the hearings. Of course, these hearings aren't particularly fun when people get examined and cross-examined and things like that, but, we're also not out in the street duking it out with each other, which is, of course, the worst case scenario and exactly what the PPO process is designed to avoid. So we are doing it in a safe and controlled environment with, some artificialities introduced by the nature of the Zoom hearing. But rest assured, I do these purely so I can jam more hearings into a given day, than I could if I had parties coming in and out of the courtroom. It's just more efficient for me to handle a higher volume of hearings so that I can get everything attended to that needs to be. So I appreciate the parties' willingness to, as I said, deal with the court schedule, and also, the willingness to engage in the legal process, which is exactly what we're doing. It's also illustrating the downsides of the legal process. What's that? Well, it's time consuming. You don't always get, very fast enough response to things that happen as quickly as they happen. And as both of you will realize when you get the bills from your attorneys, it's also expensive to engage in the legal process. And I would wholeheartedly agree. That's one of the major disadvantages of our system. And I'm grateful that you've both been able to hire competent counsel and do this. I can tell you this is 10 times harder when I try to do it with, people who are essentially having an argument with each other directly on Zoom, and I'm trying to sort out, the facts of what happened. Even though, like I said, it's not a pleasant process, the attorneys know how to put the facts in front of me that I need to decide the case. So grateful for participation of attorneys in these cases. I wish everyone a safe and joyful holiday season, and if needed, we can revisit this in the new year, but I'll leave the PPO and with gratitude again. I think the interaction to me shows, Ms. Jaffe, working pretty hard to do exactly what I would expect an individual to do in that situation when encountering someone who, and let's be realistic here, a PPO is a serious legal restraint on your ability to do what you might otherwise do. And I always counsel people to take them seriously. And I'm always grateful to see, someone who actually listens to me as opposed to, what I get, unfortunately, where people try to, push the limits on it, on a PPO. That didn't happen in that occasion. So with those closing comments, and again, my gratitude for everyone's indulgence on my limited time availability. We are concluded for the day. Thank you.